about utilizing its electoral mandate to serve its traditional base. One thing I can tell you for sure is that the majority of the organizations that are said to be NGOs, that get funding from social development, that get money from the National Lottery, are not here today. The majority of the organizations that are here, who matter the most at the point of action, including women's organizations that wake up to serve the poorest households, they don't care about compliance. What matters to them is serving that poor person. And it means that we must do the right thing. We must not take the support of one constituency to go and serve another constituency. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's go with the line, it's fine. You can go ahead, 30 seconds.
Mr. President, I want to reiterate the assignment once again, that the next vanguard will prioritize Black women's economic empowerment. Those who do not understand history and who do not care to understand history will not understand the importance of the liberation and emancipation of Black women. And so we'll always get people who may dispute. It's fine, it's okay. But those who understand history will understand how critical it is to unlock the chains that Black women have been subjected to over the past few centuries. I therefore want to challenge you, Mr. President, to establish a fund where you will focus on Black women's economic empowerment. You can run annual competitions where you award innovations on a yearly basis, or you can provide economic access, non-equity economic access to funding for Black women to start and to grow their own businesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Colleagues, nobody's going to come from somewhere and to volunteer to resolve our problems.
Yeah.
These are our problems and we must be committed to solve them. And we've got solutions that come together and implement those solutions. Number two, we love our ANC. Yeah. Our ANC comrades must be aware that they are in charge. Let's behave like we're in charge. These are our policies. If there are a problem, we must change them. We can't make this someone else's problem. We are in charge, let's behave like people who are in charge. Lastly, on LED, because the issue came up, we must not appoint people at LED and just dump them because we can't accommodate them somewhere in the structures of the municipality. We must appoint competent people at LED because that is an engine that will create jobs, collaborative between government and business and civil society on the ground. So let LED not be a dumping ground for comrades who've got no ideas and they must just be plugged in somewhere because they must earn a salary. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to the participants for those comments and questions. I will focus mainly on the one on mental health, and I'd like to argue that this mental health is not something that's limited to the youth. It is actually something that young people have inherited from previous generations, because we have this notion of our historical scar, which unfortunately our ANC-led government has not dealt with effectively. We started with the TRC. Recommendations of the TRC were not really addressed. And we wonder then why our children are so scarred. So that psychological scar, it affects all of us as a society. It's a collective scar that needs to be dealt. And one of the first areas, as I've mentioned, is it could be through meaningful dialogue, because we do not like to be honest about some of our challenges in our country. We skirt around race, we skirt around our history of class division. Even now, the new division, the social divide, which is along the lines of age, wherein our young people are so disadvantaged. We have these silent disagreements as a society because we do not allow ourselves to disrupt the rainbow nation. Until we get to that moment where we can have these honest conversations, maybe we can begin to sanitize that scar, because even our children are going to pass it on to their children and their children's children. So going forward, Che, you said there's going to be a panel here thinking about looking forward. What we must understand in terms of the work we've been doing on scenarios, the low economic growth trap is going to be with us. That scar, again, that I was talking about, which leads to violence, violent protests, gender-based violence, it is all as a result of the lack of capacity by the state to mitigate these security threats, and that's going to be something that we're going to be focusing on going forward. There is security threats that are going to impact on us. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Steve. I think even listening to the comments, I must say that economic development will not happen within a sick population. Therefore, the economic development cannot go hand in hand with the exclusion to the access to the universal health care to our people, which encompasses all, including mental health and everything else. Similarly, exclusion to access to education. We, as the ANC, have a resolution of national health insurance. We, as the ANC, have a resolution of a ward-based primary health care. We must have a professional in each ward. We must have a social worker, we must have a nurse, we must have a doctor responsible for a ward or a zone. That's the resolutions that are there. As I said, it's not new, the solutions we are proposing.
Thank you.
The battalion of the community health care workers was meant to kickstart that kind of the primary health care, where we screen and service our people before they travel long distances to